Todd, how are you going about getting feedback from players? Do you have a review group? Do you have a
Mm,
closed beta that you're doing? Is it just you and your friend being like, "Oh, this would be cool"? What's your process for
sure.
improving it? You're mentioning iterative. What's been the
Yes,
iterative game player feedback approach?
sure. So it started as friends because like that's where it always starts, friends and family. Giving both feedback from you send them a video or perhaps they get to play it. But that has expanded into a closed testing group, which I do add people to that group via my Discord server. There's an application process when there's a testing phase going on, and there will be one in the in the near future. But it's but because I come from an IT development background, I'm an advocate for it's not a play test. It's a bug finding test. So there are requirements to get people to basically use something like GitHub to be able to lodge tickets and things like that. And there's a training onboarding process that we go through to try and do that to help people learn because if they want to get into game dev, well, this is a part of game dev, being able to raise tickets and understand the whole sort of ticketing process. So everything I do in the server, I try and have it as a medium that if people want to learn to do this, well, then hopefully those interactions and those conversations, and even from a testing perspective, understanding how a game works as opposed to how you want it to work. And that's the key thing with a tester, because when someone comes to actually test the game, um, the key thing I've found is that lots of people have an idea of how they want it to work, not how it's supposed to work.
Yep.
And so training people in how it should work as opposed because it's not a bug if it's just not behaving the way you want it to. So being able to identify that, yeah, so that's the iterative process, that feedback loop of players finding bugs and also offering suggestions, because the thing is when you're a solo developer or a small team, you're very close to a project and your way of doing it might not be the best way. So you need to be open to taking criticism, constructive criticism, because it's going to come whether you want it or not. Um, Sometimes it's not very constructive and sometimes it's just harsh, but that's usually not testers because they want to support you. That's more the external. Um, but yeah, so that feedback loop of being able to accept criticism is really key. If you can't do that, then that's a skill that you might need to learn to get good at. And that was honestly something I had to learn too. At first, I took stuff to heart, because how can't you when you've worked on something for years in like
Yeah.
isolation?
90 hours a week.
Yeah,
Yeah.
it's so close to you. How can you not take some kind of like any comment is a personal jab at you, but it's not. It's this thing that you love, but other people love it too. And that's the key thing to understand, that these suggestions come from people wanting it to succeed.